All right, what's up, everybody? How's it going? I got a little Hangout stream here. It's Sunday. I'm a little tired, but I got to get this done. So I was originally going to stream the whole power supply thing. If you guys remember, we had some issues with the stock power supply and the bed heater. Now, I'm not going to be offering like a kit for sale because this is way more involved in things like fit, but I don't know if it's just my case, but like the actual case where the PSU enters in right here, mine, if you look at it, it's not actually square. Instead of like the edge being straight, it kind of comes down and like bows out a little bit. So I had to force the PSU in there. I have the DC lines going here because on this RSP 600, if you guys look, the output terminals are actually on the opposite side. So this is the DC output. So if you touch it, doesn't really matter. That's a 24 volt, but the AC is still on the inside. So if we look at the printer, see there's my AC terminals. If you guys notice, this piece of crap is gone. This is the power brick. Remo, don't you dare. So yeah, anyways, I totally forgot to turn the form on. I should probably do that. This will not be a Q&A stream. This will just be I'm working on the printer stream. So, but Derek, because I love you, man, I'll look at your thing you did on the super chat. But this is more of a hangout and chit chat. He spliced the thermistor to make it longer. Now it's returning the wrong temp. 2C above room temp. What did you do wrong? Sounds like a bad slice or splice or a bad wire. Yeah, shouldn't be too hard unless you shorted something out. But anyways, so this is gone. This was mounted right here. Now, because I have our LCD conversion kit and I have this box which mounted here, which obviously this new PSU intrudes on. Well, the good thing is this power supply has enough power output to run the board and the bed. So I was originally going to run 10 gauge to the bed, but I just decided it was overkill. But then I went and used 10 gauge to feed the power supply. So basically I have 10 gauge going into two, I think these are 7 gauge ferrules. And then I've got a 12 gauge going out to the printer board. Now I would have used 14 gauge or 16 gauge to feed the board if I had it, but I only had 12 gauge silicone wire laying around. So that's what I fed. Running a bigger wire doesn't matter. You'd rather have too big than too small. So basically my power comes in from the PSU, goes into the DC in block on the MOSFET here. And then you can see here though, this bed, so just for comparison, so we got 3 different wire sizes here. So we got 14, which is what it comes with, 12, and 10. So you can see how small these are. Now this bed actually pulls over 20 amps. So in my opinion, this is woefully inadequate. And we're going to take a look at why I'm replacing it. So I'm going to switch over to the thermal camera here. And show you guys, because I haven't done this. So I don't know what temp the wires are going to run at, but I'm going to switch to the thermal cam here. Where's my thermal cam button? Here it is. So you see I got my thermal camera. So here's my finger right here. This right here, where my finger's touching, that's the terminal blocks on the MOSFET. So we're going to be looking at the wire right here. Now you can't see it, but I'm going to tell it to heat. So I got to set the thermal camera down real quick. I'm going to tell it to heat, and then we're going to watch these wires heat up. And then we're going to test the heat up of the 12 gauge once I put the 12 gauge on here. So I've got my Hako iron over here with its big chisel tip. That should be able to tackle the bed wiring. Now, if you guys are soldering onto a bed, if you've ever soldered on a bed, you'll know how damn hard it is. Because guess what? The bed wants to pull the heat away from the soldering iron. All right, so here's my finger. Okay, so my finger's on the output, so right here is going to be the output wire. So we'll see. So the temperature's in Celsius. I'm going to go ahead and get a little closer. Can you tell which wires are going to the bed? So right here, this is my finger, the bright spot. This is my finger. This is the input terminal. This is the output terminal, and here's the wires. We can already see them heating up. So, and the reason that's important is, one, while this will let the bed get up to temp, these wires, the problem is that you're literally wasting power by heating up the wires because of their high resistance. Okay? That's the problem. Let's see if I look. So if I move here, let's see. So I'm looking at the bed here. So for my hand for reference, because obviously thermal cameras, they're not high res. So this is my hand right here. Here's my finger. And this is the sheath that has the wire in it. And you can see that's starting to get, now this is sheathed, so you can't see the bare cables, but I can feel the actual cable getting warm. So let's see, what are we at right now? So they're about 30 something. See there? You see how hot they're getting? Yeah, you can feel they're warm. So, but if you notice the wires feeding the terminal, you can't even see them on the thermal camera. So, and that's because they're not getting warm because they're amply sized. Now, this is not bad temperatures, but like I say, you're creating inefficiencies here. So because this wire is getting hot, and there's another wire going over it. Anyways, you get the idea. The wire's running warm. This right here behind my fingers, these are the 10 gauge ones. You can see they're basically at room temperature. So these are the 10 gauge right here. And they're basically at room temp, but you can clearly see coming off that MOSFET, that's the output side. But we're gonna change that out. So, and we're gonna take a look. I'm gonna leave this hooked up to my computer, and we're gonna take a look at the temperatures after we switch over. So the first thing I'm gonna do, obviously, is unplug this, and I'm gonna want to remove this little guy here to loosen this up because I'm gonna use the same sleeve to feed the 12 through. Like you can feel this is warm. Like obviously you guys can't because technology hasn't come that far. Can't feel my wires remotely, but trust me, they're warm. Like you can feel how warm they are. So the first thing I'm gonna see is if this Hako will actually do this bed. Now I did preheat the bed. You can see I have insulated this bed, which should help out a lot. What size is this? A 1.5? That's a 2. So basically the plan is to replace these two wires here with the 12 gauge. Let's take this off. There we go. Let me see if I can get these wires out. So let me unscrew them from the terminals here. And I did put ferrules on them, which I guess in retrospect is kind of a waste because I knew I was going to change them. I was originally going to be like, oh, I'll change them later, but then I was like, you know what? I just want to get this machine done. So go ahead and disconnect the thermistor line and pull these through. So let's see if my Hako, you guys think the Hako is going to be able to do it? Supposedly, according to Hako, this one will go up to 120 watts of output power. We're about to find out if that's true or not. Now, one thing you can do, which is what I did, well, not intentionally, is preheat your bed before cutting the power, so at least it's a little bit warm. So your iron isn't having to heat everything up. Now, I have found, too, that if you kind of work it in, and if you add solder onto, it also helps the heat enter in the existing solder that's on there. So I'm going to go ahead and feed some extra in. And I might have to turn the temp up. I'm at 350 C right now on this iron, but I've got a lot more room to go. Oh, and okay, so I'm literally watching my iron. The temperature is now at 334, so this bed is sinking the heat away, which is to be expected. But, oh, the wire's coming loose. Just gotta be patient, especially with the smaller irons. There we go. Just gotta be patient. You gotta remember, like, this bed's job is to spread out heat and sink it away, you know, to the build plate. Oh, come on. Work with me, bud. Come on. There we go. All right. Just make sure that's nice and flat there. All right, so we've got our power wires removed. That's going to be kind of a pain. I want to make sure I don't bridge the thermistor and the power. And I'm going to get their solder off of there, because I want to use make sure it's all my leaded stuff. They're probably using like lead-free stuff. But I prefer leaded. Nothing like a little Prop 65 in your life. Come on. Oh, man. Yeah, I have to let this heat up. I will say, though, my other Hako couldn't even do what this one did. It just didn't have the oomph. So, but, you know, respect to the 951 I'm using here. This is going to look like crap until I get it all cleaned up. There's just a lot of solder on there. But we'll get it cleaned up. You know, probably adding some flux would help. Some flux up in this bitch. I lost my little, like, syringe tip that's normally on my fucking tube of flux. And I don't have any extras, so just like dabbing it on. Can never have too much flux, you know what I mean? Have to clean that off. Come on. Suck off all that crappy solder. It's really hard because the wick is pulling it in, but the bed is also sinking heat away. So that just makes it doubly hard. All right. We're looking pretty good, though, here. We got a nice pad. I didn't lift the pad. All right. Happy with that. Get the extra flux off there. Man, this pulled a lot of freaking solder into the wick. Hopefully my bald spot is not blocking the shot. I cannot look at my camera preview at the same time I'm soldering. So it's stuff like this. I like to get their solder off. Just because I want to make sure I get a good connection. Alright. Where's my alcohol? Here it is. So I didn't damage the thermistor lines. That's good. There's my Kimtech wipes. I grabbed like a tissue. Tissues are not as good as Kimtech wipes. Kimtech wipes are freaking awesome. Sponsor me, Kimtech. I'll shill your wipes. All right. So now we got some clean pads here. What I'm going to do is cut a length of wire. I'm going to go slightly longer than the stock wires. I'm going to try not to rip these. Try not to rip. You know, maybe I should just I'll just undo these for now. I can always put them back on. It's just thermistor lines. Come on. That way I'm not dealing with trying to fight with them and ripping the pads off. Oh, these are pretty beefy pads. Yeah, we'll clean these all up too. Why'd you deposit your solder on the bottom pad? Just clean it. Mess my pads up. I hate soldering beds. How many guys have actually soldered onto a bed? And how many of you hated it? Because I hate soldering on beds. Like, everything goes out the window because you're basically fighting with a giant heatsink, which is counterproductive to the whole way soldering works. God, I hate it so much. All right. Let me go ahead and cut the new wires and get them prepped. Yeah, I hate soldering bed wires. It's always a pain in the ass. All right. Okay, so I got the old wires out of the wrap here. I've got a bunch of 12 gauge silicone here. See, 12 gauge silicone. Now I'm going to cut these red and black. I'm going to cut these a little bit longer than the factory wires, just so I have extra wire to work with. This new stuff is a lot more flexible than the OEM stuff. All right, let's get these wrapped back up. You know what? Should I solder them and then put everything in the spot in the mesh wrap? I feel like I should solder them and then wrap them up. I feel like that'd be less difficult to do if I just solder everything and then put it in the wrap. I might, man, I wonder if I can lay this, I should be able to lay this printer the other way instead of soldering vertically, because right now the solder wants to drop down, and I'd rather have it go towards this way. It's wanting to go this way right now. Let me see if I'm able to do this. It's wanting to walk on me. Hang on. I have a chair on the other side of here. I have some way to prop this up. What do I have that's about the distance? Oh, you know what? I can just put a zip tie on the belt and that's going to keep it from moving. Bed can't move if the belt is meshed together. Haha! Got him. Alright, this is just going to be awkward to get a good camera angle on, though. I'm going to try to get a decent one. But I also got to be able to get my iron in here. Alright. I think that'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Alright, where are my lengths I cut? This them? I think this is them. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and strip, I don't know, about a 1/4 inch. Oh my god. Silicone wire with these strippers doesn't always work ideally. Like, put it in here. See, like it worked. Worked that time. But the black was not playing ball with me. So I'm going to cut these a little bit shorter. And while it doesn't matter technically, the polarity, I'm going to observe red for positive and black for negative. I think the only thing that really matters with polarity on this particular bed is it does have an LED over to the left. So if I don't wire it, you know, red to plus, black to minus, the LED probably won't work. So I'm going to trim this because like we're about, we're a little bit longer. So I'll do this over the garbage can. Trim that down. So, like I said, the 14 gauge on here, I think it's too small. I think when I looked it up, according to like DC power charts, like 14 is good for like up to 20 amps. We're pulling, this bed pulls about 21 to 22. So I'm just not okay with running that wire that close to, you know, its limitations, you know what I mean? That's why I'm changing it. It's not going to hurt anything unless I botch the soldering. It's not going to hurt anything to have bigger wire on here. I am going to bump my heat up on here. Let's see. I have not changed the temp on this in forever. Let's see if I can go to... Can I go 450? Well, let me. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It'll do 450. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tin the wires first. And then I'm going to tin the terminals. Or the pads. Not terminals, pads. Just got to tin these. This is usually what I do when I'm replacing bed wires, so... I'll tin the wires, then I'll add some solder to the pads. Just let it flow in all nice. There we go. Got a couple straggler wires on there. I don't know if you guys can see them. But doesn't really matter. The nice thing about beds are, even though like the biggest thing about soldering a bed that's a pain in the ass is the, you know, wicking away of the heat because of the aluminum plate. But, you know, you're not soldering small, tiny shit. So, it's got trade-offs, you know? I guess what I'm trying to say. So, you can see here, it didn't flow all the way around the wire. Just make sure I get solder fully permeated through all the strands here. How's that looking? How is it still not? Oh, there's still not freaking solder on the bottom here. Just sucking that up. We got solder all the way around? Yeah, we do. All right. Okay. Go ahead and add some on the pad here. So this is what I'll usually do. So if I'm soldering a pad, I'll tin the wires, I'll tin the pad, and I'm going to leave this on here just to get the temperature around where I'm soldering up. Did you hear that? That was my Hako yelling at me because the bed is sinking so much heat that it can't keep up. Let's see. It's probably going to do it again. Yep. It can't keep up. It's trying, though. It's trying. Maybe I'll set it to like 400. Although we're getting pretty molten here, which means this is probably getting up to temp. What I have in the shop for when I do beds, I actually have a 100 watt Weller iron that I use just for beds. And it actually works quite well. I'm going to have to heat that up again because I totally forgot to grab a set of needle nose to hold the wire while I'm soldering it because it gets freaking hot. Trust me. I'll heat this up a little bit. Some flux on here. Oh. Flux makes everything better. And I'm going to let this sit up for a sec here, so I'm just kind of fan it out. And I am going to add more solder, so I'm gonna let this set up. Okay. It's actually got a pretty good bond already. Come on. You know you want to. Why are you lifting up on me? Stay down. Oh, dear God. Like, you see the wires, like, lifting up on me? Okay. That actually worked. Look at that. That actually worked really well. Okay. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. It's got a nice one. I'll hit it one more time. Or should I have left it? Tim can't leave well enough alone. Apparently. Alright. No, we're good. Okay. That's one done. These are a pain in the ass to solder. I really should have grabbed the 100 watt iron from the shop. So it's shiny. It's not a cold solder. Spoiler, most of my bed solders do not look pretty. They're functional and they're not bridged. So But that's a very solid connection. It's not going anywhere. Should see some guys, they have like cold solders and shit, and it's like, yeah, that's gonna rip off the moment you like bump it. All right, got a nice blob there. I'm gonna put some flux on the wire itself. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bend this like this. You can see I kind of put it at an angle. So when I hold this, it's going to want to hold it flat. So I always bend it back down. Now I got to be mindful there's those two traces for the thermistor, so I can't get over this. So I'm going to put this down a little bit on here. All right. Happy with that. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so now all I got to do is get these two center ones soldered. The excess flux off. All right, so these just basically need to get tacked on here. These are for the thermistor, so these don't need to have a ton of solder. These are just connecting to the thermistor that's in the bed. Probably easier if I put the thinner tip on here, but I don't feel like switching it out. So we're use the chisel tip for these two. Where's that cable? Here it is. It's over. Nope, that's not it. Where did I put the cable for the thermistor? There it is. All right, I am going to strip. Get me some new wire here to work with. Just strip me some extra wire. So I got me some new ends. We're going to tin those. Oh god, stop moving. Just tin those real quick. All right. Now these are not polarity sensitive either. These just need to get tacked on. Why? Why did you bridge? There we go. We're good. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Gonna bridge on me? Yeah, just be on the safe side. Just get all the residue out between the power and the thermistor. Well, that's the ground, so I guess if one of them are gonna contact my thermistor pins, the ground would probably be the best one to do it, since it's not gonna kill the board. Just ground out my temp reading. All right. I'll crap out from in there. Where's my... Yeah, definitely not my best soldering work, but it'll do, and it's not gonna break on me. We're not going anywhere. All right. Where's my sheathing? I need to sheathe my wires. Just trying to make sure they're all going the same direction inside the sheathing and not like tangling over themselves. Almost there. Okay, now I'm just gonna put a zip tie around the end here. I'm not gonna tape it. They typically use like some sort of tape. I'm not a big fan with the tape. Help you check they're not bridged. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. I got a multimeter sitting on the desk. What do you think it's for? It's for checking to make sure I didn't fuck anything up. We're getting there. Patience. This is not my first rodeo. All right, so the next thing you do, whenever you do soldering, let me make sure I set my temp back down on my iron. So I don't forget, next time I go to use it, I cook a freaking PCB. All right, so the next thing you should do is check your resistances. Now, I believe this board, I think this was like 1.1 ohms. I actually have on a stream where I said how many ohms of resistance it is. So what are we reading on here? 1.14, and that's where we should be. Oh, 1.14, 15, 16, whatever, close enough. And if I shove my leads into the end here, we should get about the same. 1.15. I dropped my flux. So, there we go. So that's good. Now let's check, make sure I don't have any continuity between the thermistor pins and the bed pins. So you see how there's no reading changing. So if I put these two together, it should zero out. But there's no continuity between these two pins here, the two center pins, which are the thermistor, and the bed wires. So these are two bed wires. Now let's take a reading of the thermistor. It should be like, I don't know, 100K? Yeah, almost bang on at 100K. So, all right, all electrical checks are passed. It's safe to put power into here. Now, if I had taken a reading across this one or this one and these, and I got any sort of reading, that means that something's bridged here. But there, I got 0 going from here to either of these two and here to either of these two. Got 1.15 ohms across the two bed terminals, which is within spec, and then 100K ohms across here. So, yep. So now all I got to do is put some ferrules on the end and reconnect this, and we'll tell it to heat and see where our temps are sitting at on the wire. I need to... Didn't they have it, like, on the stock? Didn't they have it, like, kind of loop around here? I have to look in the video of how they routed the stock wire. I think it kind of, like, looped around, and then it attached. Didn't it, like, loop around and then it attached with the little guide here? I should have paid closer attention to that. All right, let's remove our belt clip there. Turn it back on its side. Yeah, I mean, I could make this cleaner, but how many, I'm going to sit here and screw with this for what? So the joints look better? I mean, these joints are fine. They just don't look as pretty as they could. But at a certain point, you just got to be like, hey, it works. Not going to come off. How the hell was it like this? I feel like it was either like this or it went the other way. I'm like blanking out right now. I'm gonna have to go back in the video and look. Hang on, let me go back to the replay and look, which I have right here. So hang on. Okay, so it goes up and around. So it went like this and then comes right back. All right. I want to follow the same like flow as the stock wire. Where the hell is my... Oh, it's on the floor. I was like, where's my TS-ready screwdriver? It's right here. Is right here. Hello, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. It's about to expire. Don't you want to extend your warranty? Anyone here want to extend their warranty? I've got hot warranty deals. Can't be beat. Yeah. No one wants to get info about the extended warranty packages I have for your car. Fine, your loss. All right, I am going to put zip ties at the end here. Keep the sheathing on. Probably turn my soldering iron off at this point. Where's my zip ties? They are over here. I need like 2 more hands. Any scam calls? I'm not getting any scam calls lately. Just watch though, I get some. They seem to happen during the weekday. I don't get too many on the weekends. I guess over in India, where most of those scam centers are, I guess they give them off. Can you imagine, like, working for a scam center? We got some sketchy-ass people running those freaking companies. I don't know why India doesn't crack down on it more, because, like, that shit's bad. Okay, I probably should have put the zip ties on after, because now I'm fighting with the clearance between the new PSU and the extrusion. Like, just too thick. It's a thick boy. It's a thick boy now. It's like Remo. I don't know if you guys noticed, Remo thick AF. Where is he? Is he in the garage? He's in the garage. All right. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm working on. How many TVs do you have in your house, man? Is an iPad a TV? Is that my MacBook? I don't know. Just an old lady. How many of you guys, if you guys like watching people screw with scammers, highly recommend checking out Kit Boga. Have you guys ever heard of Kit Boga? He's so entertaining. I enjoy watching his things. Okay, so got the power wire, so I'm going to put some ferrules on the end here. This is the thermistor line, so that just plugs back into the board. I'm going to... they're unequal lengths at the end. They're unequal lengths. Oh, no! That's okay. We'll make them equal. Yeah, Kit Boga is hilarious. I love watching his things. Yeah, this brand of... It's like... This is the same wire we use for the 12 gauge cable sets we make. I went and stole some from the shop. I think it's like Superworm brand. It's really flexible. I really like it, but these strippers, you got to set the tension high. Otherwise, they just don't grab onto the silicone sheathing because it's so like stretchy and durable. I think these are the correct ferrules for 12 gauge. Let's see. Oh no, I dropped a ferrule. You guys got me hooked on ferrules. I really need to get them in our shop, but I have been using them on many, many projects. I'm a big fan of them. They just look so nice. I love ferrules. They just give your project that like extra fit and finish. So here's what I do. So I strip the wire about how long I think it's going to need to be. I will give it 2 little crimpy doos. And then if you look here, my wire's sticking out, so I'll usually take my flush cutters. Focus, you fuck. Oh my god. And I'll trim the end. So, because I got like some wire sticking out because I stripped it so long. But just a little post-processing. There we go. Nice and flush. I would rather have it stick out the end and be too long and have to trim it than it be too short and not be fully engulfed by the ferrule when you crimp it. You know what I mean? Because you can always trim it. You can't always pull the wire through once it's crimped. Like, you can't pull the wire through once it's crimped. Don't work like that. Alright, this one's a little long too. I'll just clean up the end here, make sure I'm not cutting the actual ferrule. Just get little wispies off there. Alright, so there we go. Now these will go into the hotbed output on the MOSFET over how. Right there. Oh yeah, nice and thick. None of that cheap shit that this came with. Okay, so I'm gonna go black and the negative. Oh yeah, that's in there. Woohoo! Red into positive. Like, these freaking terminals are huge. They do feel to be made pretty well, so I'll give them that. But, alright. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. And we're going to tell it to heat. And we're going to see where we're sitting at on the wire. Now, my prediction is I don't think we'll really see the wires heat up. Maybe a tiny bit, but I don't think we'll see the wires heat up in any meaningful way. Maybe a couple degrees. And just for funsies, let's get out another tool. Let's go ahead and put that on here, select DC. We're going to zero it out. All right. We're going to have our current meter on there. Damn you, zero out. Whatever. Close enough. All right, ready? I'm going to tell it to preheat the bed. And that's why we don't want 14 gauge wire on there. You guys see that? You see what it says? 22 amps. Now, beds, as they get hotter, the resistance increases, so the draw goes down. But yeah, that's a lot of current. Let's what the hell? Oh, I hit hold. Where the hell's the hold button on this? Oh. So we got 21 going to the whole printer. And we got, yeah, it's basically all going to the bed. All right, let's see how we're looking at on the wires. Where the hell is my thermal camera? It's over here. Thermal cam. All right, so here's my finger. Here's my finger. Here is the output terminal. These are the bed wires right here. So they're a little, like, you can see them. What were we at? 27 at the hottest point, so we're 3C lower. I'm gonna try to get in here. So you can see the input and the outputs are basically at the same temp. We're both at 28. So the outputs were, what were they, 31, 32 before? But hopefully, oh god, I tripped on the cord. We're almost at 60C already, so we should get quicker. We should actually get quicker heat up times because we're not losing that current to the wires, to heating up the skinny ass wires. It's actually going to the bed. So I would call this optional, but recommended if you can do it. I understand not everybody has a beefy enough iron to solder beds. I mean, you saw my like, that's a $300 Hakko iron that struggled, but it did it. So, but yeah, all I have left to do is button this up. I'll do some test prints on it. I'm probably going to swap the drivers out for 2209s so it doesn't sound like a bunch of robots having an orgy while I'm printing on it. But yeah, I mean, they're stock MOSFET. These are running cool even with 22 amps going through it. Yeah. And this one power supply, 25 amps output. You know, the bed's drawn 22 at full tilt. We got plenty of room to run the bed and all the other stuff on there. It's a mean well. It'll actually work, unlike the 1000 watt that came with this thing. So I will say though, my only complaint, this SE600, the fan's on all the time. So if that bothers you, you're gonna whine about it. But this is gonna go in the print farm where there's a ton of fans running anyways. Now I want to show you guys what I did here, and I'll post this on the site tomorrow. I did post in our Discord. So if you see that little white piece on the side of the power supply, so my brother Doug and we designed this when we were hanging out on Discord last night, and it uses 4 M3 bolts. You can use like regular ones here with washers. I'd recommend on this side, and this side use the button caps because the clearances are so tight between that leg. So 4 M3 screws and then 2 M4 screws with T-nuts, and that holds the ass end of this power supply here. And that will be for free. I'm not going to charge for it. So I will not be selling like a kit to do all this. I just wanted to show you guys what I did here. The main reason I'm not going to sell a kit is because this isn't as refined as I would like it. This is fine for me personally, but it's kind of janky with how I have this mounted here. I literally put an M3 screw through the hole into the bottom here, and on my machine anyways, because I think my casing is like bent, I had to like force this in here, and you can see there's a little gap here, but I'll be able to force this all back together when I put the bottom cover on here. So it's not perfect, but it's functional, and I try to get, if we're gonna sell like a product, I want it to be as close to perfect as possible. This is more of a, I just want to get this printer working thing. So, and like I said, I put the AC side in here, so that's protected because, you know, like I said, like I'm literally touching the DC terminals right now. DC is not harmless, but it's not gonna be death if you touch it. Like that was AC terminal, I'd be getting shocked, and it'd be probably a pretty entertaining stream at that point. So, you know, yep, that works. So, all right. Well, that takes care of the power supply issues. Yeah, hopefully I gave you guys enough information to do this on your own. And I feel a lot better throwing this in the print farm now. No, we don't have that sketchy power supply. You know, I don't like running those sketchy power supplies, like the random off-brand ones, but, you know, I was going to run it for this one, but then it started dying. I was like, well, guess what? Meanwhile. Yeah, so I think that's it. What was that, like, well, only an hour stream? I thought that was going to take longer. Oh, wrong one. Ooh, God. It's infinite. Ooh. Oh, no. All right. So, do you guys have any questions? Check, check, 1, 2. Now you guys can hear me in a sexy radio voice. I know my little wireless mic sounds pretty good, but yeah, seems UL compliant. I have no idea. All I know is the high voltage is going to be inside that that metal enclosure. Yeah. So this is like really weird wire. This is the stock wire for the bed. Like, do you guys see this? It's like springy. Like it's not, to give you an idea, so like you see here, like it kind of holds its shape. It's really weird. But it's silicone. It feels like silicone. Like, for comparison, like, you know, this is proper silicone wire. Like, it's much more flexible than the other stuff. Like, if you bend it, okay, kind of goes back. This stuff, if you bend it, it kinks. Isn't that weird? I feel like this is a really poor choice of wire to use for something that's moving back and forth. Like, if I can kink it like that, like, it's like it's stranded, but the strands are very thick. Like, you guys see that? The strands are very thick. Whereas, you know, with your like 12 gauge, like, you got these very fine strands. You see this? This is the 12 gauge I used. You know, like this you can pinch and there might be a little bit of retention, but you see how it doesn't stay together? Like, you can kink it, but it's like really resilient. It's weird. So, how do I run the wires to replace the power brick? So it's really simple. You just need 2 wires. You need a positive and a negative. That's it. So you're going to put the 2 wires into this terminal here. Your positives on the bottom. It's actually labeled. You can't see it from here, but it's labeled underneath where the ferrules are. So literally, you're just going to put power into this terminal. The stock power brick connects here. So this I ran back to the MOSFET here. So you can see my MOSFET's DC in. I've got the 10 gauge coming from the power supply. You can use 12. I just used 10 because why not? I had some laying around. And then the 12 going out to the board here. So this goes up to the board. You could also just put bare wires in here if you want. So, or if you wanted to, you can run, you know, 2 pairs of wires back to the PSU, but I said, screw it, I'm just going to do 10 here. And that'll be more than enough to cover the current. But yeah, so the power brick's gone. It just unscrews. And now I have 1 quality power supply in here instead of 2 janky ones. Yeah, Dominic, it does behave like solid wire. Like, it really does behave like solid wire. Like, look at that. I feel like this is a terrible wire to use on a bed because there's not many strands. It's not a high strand count. And if it's bending back and forth, like, it's going to be more prone to break as these thicker strands start breaking over time. I don't have much time on this printer. which was even more which was even more disappointing that the power supply failed because it has less than 24 hours on it. I have less than 24 hours of usage on this printer. So, yeah. Would I recommend thicker cables on the Ender 5 Plus bed too? I'm actually running the stock ones and it seems to be fine. The stock Ender 5 Plus bed pulls about 16 to 17 amps. At 24 volts. Again, like we saw with this, you know, you got that surge when it's at room temp, and as the bed gets hotter, the current drops because the resistance gets higher as the bed heats up. Any markings on the wire? Not that I can see. It's the China special, apparently. This is really weird, because this is like silicone coating. Like, I could pull this up over the end here. Like, it's stretchy coating, but the wire itself is really, ugh. Oh, Joe's looking at my undercarriage. You want to see the undercarriage, Joe? Okay, I'm going to announce a new segment. So next time we go on a printer, we're going to do ASMR printer building, okay? So today we're going to show you guys how to tune your VREVs. You're going to need to get a really nice, tiny screwdriver. And we're going to show you guys how to delicately adjust the VREF on your stepper drivers. Okay? You guys ready? Ready to adjust your VREFs? What do you think? Would that work? I'll have to start an OnlyFans for that one. That's going to be too hot for YouTube. Anyways, that's about it. I'm going to get this capped up. I'm just going to screw it back together, do some zip ties, and manage the wires, and it's going to go on the farm. That was good. This is actually water. I am not drinking more. I had too much more today. But anyways, ASMR scam calls, that'd be great. Sus Tim. Speaking of sus, if any of you guys want to play Among Us, I've been on a kick lately. Just send me a message on our Discord server. I've been playing that lately. So, if you want to find out how bad of a liar I am, come play Among Us later. I'll probably be on around 9 o'clock Central Time, so about an hour. So, but just hit me up on our TH3D Discord server. But anyways, I think that's it. I'm pretty happy with this. Like I said, it's not a perfect fitment, but you know what? I'm fine with it for my personal machine. Would I do this for a customer machine? Only if I showed them my machine first. Be like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. Like, the main thing I don't like is the fitment isn't perfect. Like, the power supply, this power supply is like, we're talking like a millimeter or two too wide to perfectly fit into the metal box. But it's a small enough of a deviation where you can just make it fit. So that's what I did. You know, that's what I'm talking about. You know, I guarantee if we sold a kit to do what I did to this, people would be complaining, like, the power supply doesn't fit. You know what I mean? So it's better off to just be like, hey, here's how I did it. If you want to do it to yours, here's the part numbers. That way we don't deal with that. You know, not everything's going to be perfect. When you're dealing with retrofitting, you know, sometimes you got to MacGyver stuff. But I'm happy with it, and it'll work, and that's the important part. So I will, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm a little, like, I'm not, like, tired, but I'm not very energetic today. So, but, oh, I almost forgot. Hey, Remo, do you want a dingo stick? Of course he does. Of course he does. Please don't start licking the microphone. Is that what you like? Is that what you like, Dominic? Just I swear to God, I'm completely sober right now. All right, Remo was a good boy, but you need to shake. Good boy. You don't know what you just agreed to, but you agreed to be the best boy ever, and guess what you are. There you go. Go enjoy your treat. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, if you guys want to play some games tonight, hit me up on the Discord server. My username's House of Bugs on there. So, I will talk to you guys later, and as always, happy printing. Hope you guys learned something, and those of you guys with Chirons, I hope my little adventures have helped you out. So, I'll see you guys on the next stream. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and I'll see you at the latest Wednesday when we do the next Ask Tim. So, talk to you guys later. Bye.